So you ever see the news these days about orcas just suddenly attacking and in some cases sinking random boats? Well, if good old Procopius is to be believed, then random whale attacks have been happening since Roman times. Since in the 6th century AD, he would describe a monstrous rogue whale that would terrorize the waters around Constantinople for decades before dying.
Oh, what do you mean 6th century AD? That wasn't Roman, it was Byzantium.
Shut up. Roman enough. Anyways, before getting into details, I do have to give a little citation. Uh, Procopius is the only primary source for anything about this whale, so we are just gonna have to take his word for it here. Now, what did he say the whale monster was doing? Well, he calls the whale by the name Porphyrios, and first mentions the whale in a section about natural disasters hitting the empire, like earthquakes and the Nile flooding. And right after talking about this flood, he says that around the same time the monstrous whale Porphyrios was finally killed. He then proceeds to go on about Porphyrios' track record, saying for around 50 years the creature was disturbing the waters around the capital on and off. So if this is around 548 AD, since that's when the Nile flooded, then this random whale was just attacking shit throughout the reigns of 3 different emperors. I don't know, maybe the whale was an agent of the Sassanids or something, lol. He says the attacks were not continuous for the whole 50-year period, but still did sink many random ships and forced many others to avoid sailing in certain areas. This single whale was a big enough problem that Emperor Justinian himself made it a priority to kill it, but was never actually able to figure out a proper plan for how. In Robert Graves' 1938 novel Count Belisarius, he gives a story of the general Belisarius going out on a boat to fight Porphyrios, and while it's a completely fictional story, let me summarize it. In this version, the whale starts off as peaceful and normal, only using the waters around the capital to catch fish, but one day, a fisherman, angered by the whale breaking his nets, threw a spear at Porphyrios. The whale, angered by this, took it as an act of war and destroyed the small fishing boat, and from then on would attack vessels in the area. After 25 years of these attacks, General Belisarius would volunteer to fight the whale, so Emperor Justinian sent him out with a large ship, a crew of blue volunteer militia, and a catapult harpoon spear thing. After waiting for Porphyrios, the whale would charge the boat. The catapult missed, and Porphyrios would destroy a bunch of the ship's oars, forcing him to retreat. But not before Belisarius would hit Porphyrios with an arrow. The mission failed, and the Blues would simply lie and say they hit it with the harpoon in the mouth, but the attacks continued. So yeah, that was the dramatized tale of the whale. But how did the creature finally meet its end, according to Procopius? Well, one day Porphyrios was chasing a group of dolphins in the Black Sea near the Straits and chased them all the way to the mouth of the Sangarius River, ate several of them but continued to chase them, either out of hunger or, I don't know, big scary monster bloodlusts. But in doing so, accidentally washed up on the muddy shores and got stuck no matter how much they squirmed. The locals in the area, after seeing this, immediately mobbed the creature and began trying to kill it with hatchets, but couldn't kill it through its thick blubber or something. So they hauled it inland with ropes and wagons, measured it at about 45 feet long and 15 feet wide, then chopped it up and divided the portions. Some people preserved and stored the meat, while others ate it on the spot. Okay. So I know Procopius means they cooked it and ate it on the spot, but the way it's worded here makes it sound like they just ate its flesh raw like a bunch of savage jackals, and I think that's really funny, so I'm choosing to imagine that's what happened. Procopius then concludes this by saying some people think it might not have been the real Porphyrios, but instead some other random whale. Although he never mentions the creature again, so I guess that's it. And that is basically all Procopius said about Porphyrios. So I really did want to see if there was more detailed stories about it, but nope, that really is it. In fact, I can pretty much easily put everything he wrote about it on screen. He tells the story 2 times in both of his major works, in the Wars of Justinian and the Secret History, both the same story in both of them. All we can really do is take him at his word here, and try to infer as much as possible from it. Like, what type of whale Porphyrios may have been. The 2 most common theories are either sperm whale or orca. But personally I'm betting on sperm whale, because, for one, if Procopius is to be believed, then the 45 feet size is far closer to a sperm whale size, and for it to be an orca would have to be very unusually big. Secondly, while both orcas and sperm whales are social animals that have groups, it is much rarer for an orca to be solitary. but adult male sperm whales are solitary outside of mating season. And thirdly, now, it is uncommon to have either of these whales in the Mediterranean, with most sightings being near the Straits of Gibraltar or just in the western Mediterranean. However, it is known that sperm whales have been documented in the eastern Mediterranean near Turkey, although quite rare, but still. So, it is not impossible to imagine one random sperm whale might have ventured a little further north to the waters of Constantinople. So yeah, I'm betting on the sperm whale here. Now for the name Porphyrios, that's also complicated, but I'll just summarize the theories. One suggests the creature is named after a famous 6th century charioteer named Porphyrius Calliopas. Another says the creature is named after Porphyrion, a giant from Greek mythology born from the blood of Uranus after Cronus neutered him. And finally, the more modern theory says the whale might have gotten its name from the old Greek word for purple, porphyria. Greek-American historian Anthony Caldelas said it may refer to imperial purple, and that the whale was named that out of respect. I don't know, I think that's a bit odd, but what do I know? I'm not a linguist. Canadian historian James Evans says the name was from the color of the whale's skin. I mean, sperm whales are definitely not purple, but I don't know, maybe someone could mistake it for a really dark purple under poor lighting at a distance in the water. This theory was supported by a few other historians, and even Caldelas himself eventually liked the theory, so that's something. Personally, I like the idea of a purple sperm whale because it's silly. Also, Herman Melville does briefly mention the Porphyrios story in his Moby Dick novel, so yeah, it's all coming together. And that's all there really is to say about this mysterious whale. So if you enjoyed this, then like and subscribe, and with that, I gotta get back to university shenanigans. Bye.